Do you know what I like to do when I'm hanging out with Hitman 23?
You like to look at some baseball cards.
Let's do it. So, how you doing?
I'm doing good, John. How are you?
I'm good. Sad couple days in the hobby
I
here.
know, man. It's like the last of that whole. I don't know. Like the last of that era is gone. I think. I mean, really.
Yeah. So Willie Mays was the oldest living Hall of Famer, and
Correct.
now that has shifted to Louis Aparicio.
Louis Aparicio. How old is Louis Aparicio?
I think he's 90. I think.
God bless, man. Wow.
Man, these guys they live in long lives. Thank
They
God.
do. They do. I don't think I'm going to live that long.
Yeah. I don't know the way I lived. I'm not so sure, but my family lives to be pretty old.
My dad's
So
side of the family definitely did or does. So maybe I got that in there, but who knows? We'll
yeah,
see.
it's all
What's in
the
the
it's
cards?
all the pasta, red
That's right. All the
sauce,
pizza
red
and pasta,
wine,
man.
coffee. Those things keep you young.
That's right. They're good preservatives. The red wine, it's good preservative.
My man Vintage Goats is in the house. Keenan,
What's up, Keegan? How you doing,
thanks
buddy?
thanks for joining. So Mike, do you have one? Let's talk about grail cards.
I don't know, man.
I this term's starting to annoy me because
I
as far as I know, there was only one Holy Grail, like one.
This is true.
And I'll see videos where every day there's a new Grail card acquired.
I have a
Have
list of
have we
cards I'd
changed the
like.
term? Have we changed that term?
Say again, John.
Have we changed that term in the hobby?
I think it may have been adulterated a little bit. I would say
Hey,
yes.
God is great. Hello from the rising sun in Japan.
Ah,
Is it morning there? Ohio
konnichiwa.
gozaimasu. Ohio gozaimasu is konbanwa. Where is it?
Yeah, a lot of terms. I don't know. I don't get too bent out of shape about it, but when I hear people talk about it, I don't have a grail card. There's so many cards I would love to have, but I mean they're on a wish list, but I don't really have. There's not one card. It's just I'm also very much into music and I play guitar and I'm always reading stuff and on Facebook. Oh, who's the greatest guitarist ever? It's
Yeah.
it's so hard to say the greatest of all time and the great. It's all what you feel, and even with cards, it's I don't know. I just try to enjoy it. I just try to enjoy it. I enjoy the hunt. I enjoy talking about them. I enjoy sorting them, and that's pretty much where I'm going to keep it. Keep it simple.
Yeah, and I don't get it doesn't bother me. I just kind of get a kick out of it. I don't know how
It's
you could
funny
have
because it's
100
true. It's
Grail cards.
no, it's
I don't know. There's only one Holy Grail, but to me, I actually do have one Grail card. Like the one card that I would want in the hobby more than any other card is the T206 Honus Wagner.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's yeah. I mean, that's the card probably, right? The baseball card.
That's my one Grail
That's
card.
the baseball card for sure. It's interesting. I think about that stuff a lot, like having cards like that, and it's weird because it's I'd almost feel like it'd be too much pressure. What happened here? It'd be too much pressure to have a card like that. Why did I flip over?
I don't know. You're going sideways on me. Just like this conversation will probably go.
Probably, and I'm not even drinking, dude. I'm not even drinking. But what was I going with this? Oh, geez, dude. Senior moments.
It's all right. It's all right.
Senior,
You were talking about.
We'll come back around. The thought went right out.
You were talking about talking about the greats, the goats, and I'm with you on that. Everybody was great in their own way.
Yeah.
And I don't believe in one goat per sport or anything like that.
I mean, it can be. It's impossible.
Yeah, I mean, how do you compare like Ty Cobb to Babe Ruth, two totally different players, or to Josh Gibson or whoever? And when you're talking hockey, a lot of people still think Bobby Orr is the GOAT, to them, but he was a defenseman. So,
Yep.
most people are into scoring. But then if you look, but if you look at like scoring per games played, Mario Lemieux is way up there.
Right.
Mike Bossy. But
Oh,
there you
Mike
go. There
Bossy.
you go. Like Mario Lemieux was a center. Gretzky was a winger. You
Right.
know,
Offensive
uh,
play. Right. Right.
yeah. And how are you going to compare a center in basketball to a guard? You
Exactly.
know, like you want to talk about Bill Russell versus Michael Jordan or whatever.
It,
It's
it,
just, they're all great in their own way.
yes. 100%. 100%.
So
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, so you're like me, you're getting into this year's heritage, huh?
John, let me tell you something. I'm so addicted to it. It's not even funny. I'm just buying packs just to buy. I don't even care. I'm just buying packs. Like I've got the whole set pretty much done. Save. I'm short like 20 cards total, and I don't care. I'm still buying packs. I just love opening them. Like I could almost feel like it was like this is what it felt like back in 1975. In a way.
Yeah.
And it's to be able to rip those cards and pull that design out of a pack. It's just really cool. And I think they did a really good job this year with it. I mean, I think they've done a good job with Heritage since its inception in 2001. So it's just a fun way to collect. And I think I had mentioned this to you the other day. In the hobby, you know, goals and whatever else we have, and if I had to say, if I had a recommendation, I'm not saying to do it, but I would say, everybody should just maybe one time, even if you're not a set builder, just put a set together by pack. It's just such a great experience, and getting that last card you need. I mean, Pepino Man's talked about it so many times, and it's just nothing like it. That old school building a set from packs it's just nothing like it. I think it's a
Yeah.
great experience.
It's kind of a lost art. I heard, I heard one of the newer influencers talking about how he couldn't think of anything dumber than to put cards in a binder.
Jesus Christ.
And I could understand that point of view, but
Yeah.
back in the day, building the set was a fun thing to do.
Yes.
And some of those older sets with the Tough Third series,
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, you really are celebrating when you can complete one of those sets,
A-
and it's a fun thing to do. In the modern hobby with the modern sets, I it's not so much fun to complete the base run. I mean, it's pretty easy. I shouldn't
yeah.
I shouldn't say it's not fun. It's pretty easy. But what I like to do is I like to go after all kind of parallels and signature cards and
Oh,
and patch cards. And I know I'm not going to complete it. It's impossible. But it's just fun when I find a set that I really like, just to build as many as I can.
absolutely. Like this year's Heritage, I love that sparkle blue parallel set they're doing.
Yeah.
I just love it. I mean, there's so many. I mean, the white borders, the red border. I mean, it's insane. And
Have you seen the silver?
the silver, yeah, those are tough, dude. I have not seen one
They're
of
they're gorgeous.
those. I have not even seen one of those. And there's 3D ones too. There's 3D ones that they're doing.
I have yet to pull one of those.
Those are hard to pull. And they have classic players, modern players. I saw some images. Some of them look really awesome. But those are tough pulls. Really
I'm
tough.
a 3D junkie, so I'll
Yeah.
probably be chasing those.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to buy another box here soon. And then you informed me that the minis are a totally different set. I thought they were an insert set.
Mm-mm. You have to buy the. I think it was a Topps exclusive. Mike O busted a bunch of them. I picked up a Yankee team set from him, or a near Yankee team set. But yeah, no, it's its own separate entity, just like it was in '75. I guess the test issue they did, but it's
Yeah.
a separate thing, man. Yep.
After you told me that, I went on to Tops to look, and man, they're a lot. They're like almost twice as much money
It's
as the regular Tops. I didn't realize that.
a lot more expensive.
Do they have all the same inserts? Do you know? Do they have the
I
3Ds and all that good stuff too?
stuff. Oh man, that's a really good question. I know they have like the then and nows and all that stuff, but in terms of parallels, I think they do have a lot of the same parallels. I don't, I'd have to look that up, man, to be 100%. But I'm almost positive they have the parallels in the minis, just like they do on the regular size.
Yeah, I'm enamored with the minis. I love collecting the minis. Now, Double D's on here, and so in the Heritage, do they have a reprint of the Robin Yount card for him?
Not that I know of. Not that I know of.
Dylan, how many Yount rookies do you have now? 28?
117. That's my guess.
I think he's going to try to get as many Yount rookies as Yount had hits.
I was gonna say he's gonna be the there's a guy that like bought all the 64 tops Kurt Flood cards, or not all of them, but he bought like a ton of them. That's what Dylan's gonna do with the Yount. He's gonna be like he's gonna corner the market on the Yount rookie.
I'll tell you, I've always found that card to be kind of criminally undervalued, underappreciated. Early years ago, I mean, when he was first getting into the hall and everything, it was kind of a hot card. But over the years, it's just fallen off. I don't know if it's just
Yeah.
because of where Yount played.
Yep, I think it's
You
part of.
know,
I think it's part of it, man.
yeah. I mean, if you look at Paul Molitor's numbers, they're insane, but you don't see people paying up for his cards.
No, not at all.
Same kind of deal there, I think.
I'm just looking up the minis, and I am looking 500 cards. You can have several subsets. Same thing. First 100 cards are short printed on the minis. They have many autographs. They do have many autographs. They do a 75 World Series insert in the minis that they're not doing in the regular series, which is kind of cool. But I guess they do. They do have parallels. So what to expect in a hobby box: 2 inserts, 3 parallels, and 2 big short prints. So they're
Okay.
Yep.
It's a fun set to collect for us old timers.
It is
Nostalgia.
It makes me feel old. It makes me feel crusty, but it's all good, man. It's all good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm totally cool with the heritage and the archives and redoing old designs. It's just that some of these designs, they insert them throughout different products,
I know
and it's impossible for somebody new to the hobby to know what the hell
exactly.
set they're from.
Wait,
When you see a 1972, is it a heritage or was it an archive or was it an inserted regular top? Like you have no idea.
yeah, none. I mean, there are little hints, like at least on the front of the heritage card, heritage, but you got to like be really looking for that, But I know exactly what you mean, and it's like the '87 set they've just done, Rick, ad nauseum. Like enough with that. Great set, love it, beautiful, but man, I don't need to see that one for quite some time.
They need to have college courses in how to tell what sets these things are from.
I think
it just gets it's too much overkill, man.
Yeah, no doubt.
Too much redundancy, in my opinion.
No doubt about it.
And I'm into new cards. I collect new cards, so it's not that's I'm just into the old cards. That's not true at all.
Yeah,
it just I mean, even for me collecting all these years, I look at one, I have no idea what set it's from.
Yeah, no, it's I have in my binders, obviously, I like my binders, and I have player runs in my binders. And I look down and I try to keep when I set my binders up, I try to keep like cards together. Just I like that look, and then I'll look at a page and I'm like, oh, what is that a heritage? Yeah, like you said, is that a heritage or what is that from? I have no idea. I have to like get my magnifier out and look at the back, or really dig deep and find out which card what set it's from. And if you try to put a set together, it's like you better keep this a question from everything else, because you'll be in trouble if you don't.
Yeah, I keep my cards by sets, and if I didn't, I wouldn't know those inserts were from there, and that helps me always know that. The other thing are the tops buybacks. That's always which set did this come from? Which archive set? So I keep my buybacks with that set so that I know where they came from.
Yeah, you're talking about the stamped buybacks, right? The ones that they stamp. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people probably keep them in with their, like if you have 73 buybacks, a lot of people probably keep them in with their 73 set because there's 73 cards with the stamp. But I keep them with the new set. That way I know what set they came in. And I have them all anyway. I have the originals anyway. So
yeah.
It might be different if I was putting a set together and I needed that card for my set. Maybe I'd put it in there.
Right.
But to me, it has a stamp on it, so it's altered.
What do you think about like those buybacks? You like that? I mean, what's your take on those?
I love the concept, but I don't know why they have to stamp them. Why
Right.
can't they just insert them in there and you get a nice vintage card? Why
That's
why would they have to alter that card with a stamp?
that's my stance on it. I'm like,
I mean, to me, that wouldn't. And I don't know. I don't sell cards. I don't know if they go for more or less. But to me, I'm going to pay less for that card with the stamp than I am for the original.
you know, it's funny if I go on COMC a lot, and I tell you something. I think those have a premium on them compared to the real ones. They're the
Do
unstamped
they?
real ones.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
it's crazy what some people will put a premium on these days.
I
It's
absolutely
like because Topps touched it.
exactly.
You know, they so if I had a 1973 Juan Marichal, you
Yep.
know, in a regular old grade, I could sell it for $20 on eBay. But
Mhm.
if Topps bought it from me and then put their stamp on it, they could turn around and sell it for more. It's the same card, except
Absolutely.
now it's altered. It makes no sense.
Which way is it, man? Which way is that's another thing. It's like, what is it? Is it altered? Is it not altered? You know, oh, it's altered. It's not worth it, but it's stamped. Wait a second, but no, that one's okay, but this one's not.
Yeah,
I,
it's like I could buy a PSA 10, but then I could send it to Mike Baker. He could put a sticker on it, and now it's going to sell for more. It's an extra special Mike Baker 10.
so if so, we could really throw a rift in the space time continuum if we took a buyback stamped Topps card, sent it, got it graded, sent it to Mike Baker so he could grade the grade. Oh my, I'm losing it already, man. It would be, the Earth would stop spinning on its axis if we did that, right?
You could build a whole business around this because it just blows my mind what people will pay up for sometimes.
I know it's I guess what's one man's junk is another man's treasure, as he
Absolutely. And there's another saying, a fool and his money soon part.
Oh, drinking my seltzer,
So other than the heritage, what are you into these days?
I'm, John, I'm all over the place. That's the thing. Like, I don't have one focus. I just love it all, man. I've been, the last, I don't know, 6 months, I've been really into this like football thing where I love the 70s football cards. Um, and I love, I love that whole like guys that stay with the same team for the whole career. I just dig that.
Yeah.
So I did that for baseball, and now I'm doing it for football. So I just been picking up team lots of different teams, and like picking out the guys who've been with them their whole careers, building vintage sets, picking up vintage cards, trying to get more vintage into my collection. I'm all over the place. I just kind of like go with my mood. Whatever my mood is for that day or that week, I kind of just go with the flow. That's why I'll never have I'll never have the biggest Don Mattingly collection because I just can't. There's so much other cool stuff, and I just love it too much. So I just kind of go with the flow, man. Just go with the
Can't
flow.
focus.
Yeah, for a while it bothered me, but now I don't care. I embrace it. I embrace my non-focus, and I love it all. Whatever tickles my fancy, I'm gonna pick it up and I'm gonna add it to my collection.
Well, you know what I mean. I think the people that are happiest in life are the ones that know who they are and do what makes them happy.
Yeah,
I'm kind of the same way. I'm all over the place. It's very
yeah.
hard for me to focus on one thing.
There's just too much.
Uh,
There's too much cool stuff to have.
too much good stuff out there, man.
You it's
To
just
just focus on one thing all the time.
I didn't know the other day, dude, when you posted that in action picture of Gaylord Perry on the hostess card. I'm like, I didn't know there was an action hostess card. Of like, I always assumed the only hostess cards I've ever seen were headshots. I've never
Yep.
saw one. And you're like, oh, there's this one and this one. I'm like, here we go. Went
Yeah,
on.
that Gaylord Perry, the Chris Chambliss, and the Craig Nettles, they're fantastic.
I got the Chris Chambliss on the panel. I got the whole panel. And what's cool about that one? It's got Biff Pocoroba on it, who is an all-time Brave. He played for the Braves his whole career. So I got that, and then I'm watching a Greg Nettles. I have it on my watch list.
Now the Greg Nettles, did you what do you think of that? That's a
It's
beautiful card, right?
cool, dude. I love action cards too. So when I saw that Gaylord Perry's great too. I like that one. That's
Yeah, see, I'm into action cards too. I don't need a portrait of these guys in my wallet like they're my girlfriend. I want them playing the sport. You know,
One of my favorite all time cards, 1976 Lou Brock. I
mine too. Mine
love
too. I have
that.
several of them and the O-Pee-Chee because I just love that card.
I remember seeing that card when I was, I don't know, 12. You're talking what, 1982? And I remember seeing that card, and I was like, I just was like, my eyes fell out of my head. I was like, that card is just so awesome. I love it. Just you know,
Yeah, like several years.
as much either with the on base. There's like more of a rare looking a rare shot. You don't really see that, especially with the guy behind him, the defensive player behind him. He's taking that lead off a second. It just looks just so awesome. So many cool shots in the 76 top set. So many cool shots.
Yeah, no, I have a similar memory. It was a number of years after it was released. And I remember being in school and a kid had that card and I hadn't seen it before. Back then, if you didn't pull it from a pack or your friend didn't pull it from a pack, you didn't know it existed.
Exactly.
You never saw it. So I remember the first time I saw it and I was just so jealous because I just loved it and I wanted it.
And it has an
So I
all-star on there, that yellow all-star just
now
jumped off the card. And
now a little card trivia for you, and if you watch my video, you might remember. If you watched, I've mentioned it a
I know
number
where
of
you're going with
times.
this, I think.
But who was the shortstop in the background of that card?
I always used to think it was Frank Tavares, but I was schooled.
Everyone did.
Is it Jackie? Is he Jackie Hernandez? Is it Jackie Hernandez?
Yes, it is. Number 2 he wore.
Jackie.
Frank Tavares wore number 10.
Okay.
Yeah. Now Jackie Hernandez, he his last year was 73. He left. He
Oh,
left at 73 for the
that's
Pirates. So
old.
so that picture was 2 years prior to 76.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He played on the 71 World Series team.
Okay.
In fact, Jackie Hernandez was filling in for an injured Gene Alley,
Oh,
and on when they made the all black starting lineup.
okay.
Yeah, if
All right.
in case for people that don't know, Richie Hebner was hurt and Gene Alley was hurt. Richie Hebner was at third, and
Yep.
they had a young player named Dave Cash who was a
Oh,
second
yeah.
baseman.
Dave
So
Cash.
Dave Cash had to fill in at third for Richie Hebner. Jackie Hernandez filled in at short for Gene Alley, and then what people don't realize is let's see here, who was that? Was Stargell was a left fielder back then.
Yeah, I believe you.
And I
Who was at
think
second base? Who was at second base for them?
second base was Rennie Stennett.
Oh, okay.
And Gene, who was in? Man, I'm drawing a little bit of a blank on. I'm trying to think of who was playing first base. If because Willie Stargell was a
Or Al
left
Oliver.
fielder then. I think it was Al Oliver. Because they switched him to center field later on. So I think it was Willie Stargell in left, Gene Klein's, I think, in center,
Oh, Gene.
Roberto Clemente in right. You had Dave Cash at third, Jackie Hernandez at short, Rennie Stennett at second, who was a rookie that year. It was Rennie Stennett, right?
I believe you're right.
And then I think it was Al Oliver, Manny Sanguillen behind the plate, and Doc Ellis pitching.
When did John Milner come up? What year?
Oh, John Milner was later, but he was with the Mets. He came over from the Mets.
Oh, he was Pirate originally.
Yeah, I think we got him in '79.
Okay.
Either '78 or '79. We got him,
Okay.
and he was part of the World Series team that won, the team that won the World Series in 1979, and they platooned him with Bill Robinson. Bill Robinson came up with the Yankees, then went to the Phillies. Then the Pirates got him. They built that team, man. So they platooned in left field, John Milner and Bill Robinson, because one was a righty, one was a lefty.
Yes.
And then John Milner also was Willie Stargell's backup at first base. So he played a lot of first base that year as well. But they platooned. I could still remember the starting lineup of that team. I'll give it to you right now.
Yes.
I'll never forget that. I didn't even know their batting stances. But you had Omar Marino, the Antelope, leading off.
Yep.
And playing center field. Then Tim Foley choked way up on that bat. Scrappy little hitter. He played shortstop. He had just come over and replaced Frank Tavares. And he batted second. Batting third was the Cobra Dave Parker in right field. Batting fourth was Willie Stargell playing first base. Batting fifth, they moved people around. It was either Bill Robinson or John Milner, depending who was playing, or it was Bill Madlock. And sometimes Madlock was fifth, sometimes he was sixth, in that order.
What did he come over
And
from Giants? Bill Madlock. He came over.
he came over from the Cubs. He went to the Giants after us.
Okay. Okay.
And then after him was Ed Ott, the
And
guy with the shortest name in baseball history.
oh yeah, that's right. I heard
Just
that.
edging out Melott. Yeah, Ed Ott, shortest name, and he was a good catcher for us. So and then Phil Gardner, scrap iron.
Bill Garner. That's
Yeah,
right.
now Phil Gardner was a third baseman. We got him from the A's, but when he came over, they put him at second base because we had four-time batting champ Bill Madlock at third base.
Dude, Hall of Famer.
Yeah, and then Manny Sanguian at that time was at the upper end of his career. They used him mostly as a pinch hitter, and I remember in Game 2 he got a game-winning hit to win Game 2. I remember watching that.
When did Mike Easler come on the scene?
Mike Easler, he was on that team.
He was.
He
Okay.
was. I guess he was bouncing around the league, mostly in the minors, and he came to life when he came to Pittsburgh. The Hitman. I have one of his.
Yeah.
I have one of his bats, and he was a phenomenal pinch hitter that season, and he was lighting it up. He was like the best pinch hitter in the majors, and then he became a starter for us after that.
Yep.
But he was brilliant as a pinch hitter that year and was on that team. Del Barra was, I think, a rookie on that team.
Oh,
he was a rookie on that team. Didn't play much, but he played a little bit. And we had this one guy, and they only pinch ran him. And he had come up with the A's. We had a lot of guys from the A's, including Chuck Tanner came over from the A's because Danny Murtaugh had died unexpectedly. And Manny Sanguian went to the A's, and we brought him back. But anyway, they had this guy, Matt Alexander.
I remember.
Yeah, so he was exclusively used as a pinch runner, and he was fast as hell. And they would bring him in. That was a fun team to watch. They were one of that, kind of small ball kind of team where they ham and egg it. A different player contributed every game. It wasn't dominated by one. They were a true team. It was a true team effort.
So they had that hard turf there in Pittsburgh too. They could just freaking bang that ball off the turf. And
dude, I played on that when I was 16 years old. I got to play in Three Rivers Stadium, and man, that ball would hit that turf and bounce over your head. I couldn't believe it. It was like running on carpeting. And I played the outfield, and we used to have to do these drills where you would run back, they'd hit the ball to the fence, and you'd have to run onto the warning track and not get distracted and catch the ball, right? And when you would come off that bouncy AstroTurf, you would hit that warning track. It was like a brick, right? It was like road, and it was so odd to get used to because you'd be bouncing and then boom, and while you're trying to concentrate and catch a ball up against the wall. It was tough.
How did you get to do that? What was how did you come upon that?
I went to Steve Blass's baseball camp.
Oh, okay.
And it was a blast. And Bruno Sammartino's son was there with me.
Bruno Sammartino.
Yeah, and he used to get these kids in figure fours, like at night when no one was around. We'd get in that hall, and he would wrestle these kids, and he would get these big kids in figure four locks, and they were literally crying. And he would kind of torture everybody. Now, I had a roommate, and he was this big dude with like knife wounds on his stomach. And he was kind of like the kid from the movie My Bodyguard.
Yeah.
He was quiet, never talked to anybody, but no one would even look in his direction. And so nobody messed with me. He was my roommate. It was just me and him. And we'd just stand out there and watch these kids just get put into a pretzel and actually cry. But what a great experience that was.
That is cool, man. Definitely good memories there. That's really awesome.
Yeah, then and Don, if Don Philogreens was watching, he's always busting my chops. But I always talk about how I got hitting lessons from Willie Stargell there because we played and it was before a game, and then Willie Stargell would teach us how to pick up what pitch was coming off the pitcher's hands. And what an experience, growing up.
That's priceless, man.
Yeah, I mean, Willie was the man in Pittsburgh. After Clemente, he was the man.
That is some cool stuff. That is very, very cool.
And then Steve Blass, I did a video on this. Every night he'd make us watch his World Series games, and it was back. They had the 8 millimeters, and we'd have dinner, and then he'd play that film, and we'd have to watch the whole game every night. And the kids are, after a while, they're going, "Please, not again, Steve."
It's like it's a Pruder film.
Yeah. So Steve got real pissed at me. I had this coach in when I was growing up, and he had played in the minor leagues. In fact, I had two coaches that played in the minor leagues, and I was kind of I kind of grew early. Like I got big, and then I stopped growing. So at the time, I was one of the bigger kids. Like I look back on my 10th grade class picture. We had like a group picture, and I'm like the biggest kid in the picture. But I just stopped growing at that size, right? And I had some weight on me, so like I batted cleanup, and they were trying to give me more power. So they taught me to pop my hips, right? He taught me to do this thing where I pop my hips and I would pull everything, and I would hit these line drive shots. But it kind of ruined me because I couldn't go the other way.
Right.
So I'm at Steve Blass's baseball camp, and I was playing the outfield. By the way, there was this college guy he had, this college baseball player. He hit 2 line drives to me in left field. They must have been not 3 feet off the ground the whole way from. I had never had to catch 2 line drives coming at me that hard in left field in my life. I was like fighting them off to catch them. I was like catching them at my knees. They were the toughest 2 fly balls I ever caught in my life. Just absolute liners. I mean, these guys were like way older than us, right?
Yep.
And they had some guy. One of our guys played in the Sugar Bowl, I think it was, or the Orange Bowl. He played in a bowl game. Anyway, he had all these assistant coaches. So I went up there and I hit. Well, let me back up. I had pulled my thigh muscle, so I couldn't run. So Steve was like, "I'll run for you." So I get up there, I pull the ball, and I hit a line drive to third base, and he catches it. And I get up there, and of course Steve runs, and then he runs back. So the next time up, I hit a line drive to third base, and the dude catches it. Steve runs. So I'm up again, and he pulls me aside in the dugout, and he goes, "If you hit that damn ball to third base one more time," and he was all pissed because he had to run, and he was getting tired. So I went and I pulled out a bat that was 2 ounces heavier, right? Because I always liked a light bat for some reason. So I went and I got a heavy bat that I couldn't possibly get around that quick. And dude, I hit this double into the gap. Like I hit it exactly like I hit the other ones. I just couldn't quite get around as fast. And he was at second base. He came in, and I'm like, "Are you happy now? Is that better?"
Steve Blass, didn't he do Pirate games? Doesn't he?
Yeah. He just retired last year. He was a great announcer. Great guy. He was announcing at that time. That's how long he's been doing it.
Yeah.
And he took us to the game, got us seated. We did everything, and then he went up to the booth and he announced. It was when he was first starting to announce.
Yeah, I think Connecticut or something like that. I think is he from Connecticut? I thought he was from Connecticut somewhere.
Oh, I don't know. But it just a wonderful experience. Omar Marino was like the fastest guy in the league at the time, and he was leading in base steals and everything. And he had his time. And what he would do is he would hit these ground balls to us. We all had to play the infield, and he wanted to show us how fast the major leaguers were. So he had a stopwatch, and he would hit these ground balls to us, and he'd start the stopwatch, and we had to field that ball and throw it to first in time to get Omar Marino.
Okay.
And we'd be playing at second base, and at first we're used to our normal, guys playing. We're 16,
right?
So we're getting the ball, we're going like this. He's like, "Safe," and we're like, "What?" Like, you just barely get the ball, and he was safe. So we learned to get that and hurry up and get it over to first. It was unbelievable how little time you had to throw him out.
It blows the mind when you really sit down and look and watch, and just simple things like the throw from third to first. Like you go to a game and watch, for me, I'm like, it blows my mind. Like it just blows my mind how these guys are just so in tuned and just how amazing they are. Just absolutely.
Yeah. The other thing that was interesting at the time, it was like, most people, when they would slide into a base, they would slide feet first.
Yeah.
When I grew up, that's what we did. And then you had Pete Rose coming along,
Yeah.
diving and shit, and Omar Marino doing the same thing, and a few of the guys were doing that. And so one thing he did was we went out to our practice field, and in the grass, he had this. There was this big wide open field, and he would hose it down, and we had to run over and over and over again and dive in the grass and slide.
Nice.
And that's how he taught us to slide. And then you
Little
would
bit-
go into the ball field and do it.
Oh my Lord, dude. That's good stuff. That's good.
One of the great experiences of my life. Now later on, I went to I was one of the big customers at the time of the Pittsburgh Tribune Review,
Okay.
and they invited me to go down to spring training. And of course, they were a big sponsor of the Pirates and everything.
In
So,
or not Sarasota, in Bradenton?
yeah, in Bradenton.
Okay.
So I go down to spring training. This is around 93, 94 ish.
Mm-hmm.
Tim Wakefield was a rookie. I
Yeah.
remember I had him sign my ball where he held his knuckler. I have it up there. So we go down there, and this was such a wonderful experience too. But so um, uh, they there's like, we're going to go over to the stadium now. I mean, what an incredible day this was. So I go out with the guy to get in the car, and I jump in the car, and I hear this voice that I recognize like the back of my hand, right? And it's Lanny Fratteri. He was the Pittsburgh Pirate announcer,
Okay.
and he was driving. And then Jim Rooker, who was one of the stars of the '79 World Series, was in the passenger seat.
Yep.
And so it's me and the marketing guy from the Tribune Review in the back seat. And Lanny Fratteri is talking to us and driving us to the field. And it was so weird. It was so surreal because I hear this guy on the radio,
Yeah.
and just talking one on one has the exact same voice, like, and it was just so surreal. So I get to the stadium, and I'm standing over there. Now, I hadn't played ball in years at this point, and I'm standing in left field. I'm sorry, over the fence in right field, and Andy Van Slyke's in center, and he overthrows somebody, and the ball comes rolling out to my feet.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm on over the fence from right field, and Andy Van Slyke standing in center, and he goes like this to me. And I'm like, oh my God, I haven't thrown a ball in so long. I'm going to totally embarrass myself, right? And I picked that ball up, and I threw a strike, hit him right in the glove. And I was so proud of myself. I'm like, yes,
Under
I didn't
pressure,
embarrass myself.
you came
So
through.
then, yeah, so then the next day they pick us up again and take us to play some golf. And who do I play golf with? Steve Blass.
Oh wow. Did he
Yeah.
remember
So
you?
I
Did he
huh?
remember did he remember you when from when you were in his camp or
I don't think so. I don't even remember talking to him about it, to be honest with you. I don't know. That was a long time ago now. I probably did. But he was a nice golfer, but man, his clubs would go flying farther than his ball. He was very angry when he mishit it. Not in a mean way.
right?
Not in a mean way. He was just very competitive.
Yeah.
But it was fun to play with him.
That's so cool. That is awesome.
Yeah, I got to play a round of golf with Joey Mullen once. He played for the Pittsburgh Penguins. At the time he retired, he was the all-time leading American-born scorer.
Mm-hmm.
And it was fun to play with him. He was a real nice guy. And Robert Lang, who played for the Penguins, he was in the foursome in front of us.
Okay.
And actually, we were in a threesome. I don't know if they were in a foursome or a twosome, whatever. But they were in front of us. And he kept bringing the golf cart back and just messing with us. Like, I don't know why. I don't know if he was backed up in front of him. But every time I turned around, Robert Lang bringing that golf cart back and just kind of messing with Joey and us.
That is cool. What did you do that you were able to get these experiences? What was your role? Your job?
So I was in the travel business back then, where I grew up, and I was very involved in my community. Like, I was chairman of my Chamber of Commerce, and I was on a lot of boards and committees. I was president of the Overly Charitable Foundation, which put on the largest Christmas light display. It was we gave all our money to children.
Nice.
We used people, actually guys from the prison, They were allowed out to help us build it, put the lights up. Westinghouse donated all the lights to it.
Wow.
And I mean, there were like a million lights. I think it's still going on today.
Oh, that's
But at one time, I was president of that organization, so I was, I was out and about in the community a lot.
that's
Used to drink with Bill Mazeroski, and because I used I used to hang out with Paul Blanda, who was George Blanda's brother.
okay.
He was from my hometown, and he kind of took me under my wing, and he'd take me out drinking and introducing me to ball players. Had lunch with Kent DeColvey one day through him. And so when there was a charity outing or whatever, people would call me to line up the talent, and I'd call Paul Blanda, and he'd line it up.
Very
I know
cool.
Roman Gabriel just passed away recently. He used to hang out with him a lot. He used to tell me stories about him. He was one of his friends. Evil Knievel was one of his friends. He used to call my office all the time. And Kenny Stabler was a good friend of his too. And Pete Rose, he was friends with Pete Rose. He used to talk about him too. Never got to meet those guys, but
That's cool.
it was fun hanging around him. But Paul Blanda was an All-American linebacker at Pitt, and he was supposed to be the better athlete, but he blew his knee out in college and never got a chance to go to the pros.
Oh, so I didn't realize the Blanders were from the Pittsburgh area.
Yeah, Youngwood, PA. They renamed Route 119 there, George Blanda Boulevard. And then Arnold Palmer was from our area too.
Who?
Arnold Palmer.
Arnold Palmer. Okay.
Yeah, so I used to get to hang out with him and play at his country club. He was always around, the most gracious, famous person you'll ever meet in your life. Yeah, I hung out with him. Got stranded in a rain delay. He was in the foursome behind me at his country club one day, and we just sat there, shot the shit, and it was like talking. It was like talking to you, dude. It was fantastic. He used to come around when you were eating inside and just talk to everybody. Very gracious guy. And Rocco Mediate was also from my hometown. I used to play with his dad and uncle at my golf club. We had a golf club back in the day. Italians weren't allowed into the regular golf club, so we formed our own. And so I used to play with his dad and uncle. And I graduated high school with his sister, but he went to a different high school than me. He went to a different high school than his sister. We went to a Catholic high school, and he went to the public school. But yeah, we had a lot of athletes come out of our area. Western PA.
Wow.
We had Joe Namath. I'm sorry, Joe Montana. Was right down the road from where I grew up. Stan Musial, Ken Griffey. Ken Griffey Jr. was born there. Michael Moore, the heavyweight champion. Michael Moore.
Oh yeah.
He went to school with my girlfriend at the time. He was from Monessen. I have a friend who was a Gold Glove. His father was a Gold Gloves boxer, and he trained him when he was like 13 years old, and ended up winning the heavyweight championship against Holyfield. And if he would have listened to his damn trainer and stopped moving to his one side, he would have beat George Foreman too. Had that fight won in the last round, but he wouldn't stay away from that Foreman. Man, that powerful Foreman punch, and he got knocked out like with seconds to go. But Michael Moore was a middleweight who kept putting on weight. He kept moving up in weight class and won the heavyweight championship of the world. Think about that. He was a middleweight, and he was knocking guys out. No, these middleweights, they couldn't hang with him. And so he was. When you see him in those fights, he's a little bit chubby. He doesn't have much muscularity on it because he put a lot of weight on to move up to heavyweight. But it was pretty impressive that he could do that. Yeah, but he was such a strong puncher that he could get away with it.
Right.
I think James Toney did that too. Didn't James Toney move up heavyweight?
I do not know that. I do not know. I don't know really much about boxing at all. I know boxers, and that's pretty much it. But I don't know anything about, who did what.
I used to be in the boxing, and they had these Friday night fights, and I used to watch them all the time. I remember there was a fighter I really liked. His name was Buddy McGirt.
Buddy McGirt.
He was a nice fighter.
It's a good fighter's name.
Yeah, Buddy McGirt.
So you ready?
I don't know why he still sticks with me.
You ready for the national, dude?
Dude, I am so ready for the national. I'm ready to leave now. If Lou Rock would get up there.
I keep looking at the calendar. I'm like,
let's go.
How many more weeks? I can't wait. I
I
cannot
can't
wait.
wait either. I'm getting real excited.
It's going to be awesome.
It's one of the best parts of the hobby.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. It's the build up is just like I feel like I'm a kid again, like at Christmas time, just waiting and waiting.
Yeah,
Nothing
you know,
like it.
I woke up the other day and I was like, wow, it's coming right up. Like
It is,
it's
man.
starting to sneak up.
It is. I just started a new job today, yesterday, so like I was like, okay, after I start my new job, I'm like, it's only a few weeks away to the match,
Uh,
because I
yeah.
had to get the days off like written into my offer letter. I'm like, hey, listen, I got this time off. I had it for a year. I'm like, can I get that time? And they're like, oh yeah, no problem. We'll just write it to your offer letter. I'm like, thank you, because I won't be, I won't take the job otherwise. Yeah, I can't wait. I cannot wait, man. I can't wait to see what they're going to do this year in Cleveland, because in 2018, that was the last time it was there. I think I'm pretty sure it was 2018.
I've never been to Cleveland. My first one was just 2 years ago at Atlantic City. So I've only
Oh,
been to two, and
okay.
yeah, that was the first one I ever went to.
Yeah, the Cleveland venue is interesting. I believe I asked somebody, or somebody said it's like the largest one-story building in the United States or something. It's huge
Is that
because
right?
they used to build tanks there. That's either tanks or airplanes for the war. I don't know what war was, World War One or World War Two.
Oh, so it's old.
So it's an old building. But in 2018, when they had the national there in 2018, they only used like a third of the building, and it
Well,
was
you're talking about the convention center?
yeah, the IX Center, the IX Center.
I don't know what it's. I was at that convention center years ago. I used to go for conventions, and it was enormous, but I didn't remember it being that old,
Yeah, it's pretty
or I
old.
didn't realize it was that old.
It's out by the airport. I don't know if there's another convention center like closer to Cleveland. This is out by the airport.
Oh, I think this one was closer to Cleveland.
Yeah, no, this is out by the airport.
I don't know. It's been a long time.
Yeah, yeah.
I used to go to Cleveland a lot, though. I mean, I loved hanging out at the flats. It's a great city.
Is that down by the canal there? Is that the area down
Yeah,
by the canal? Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
but is it a canal or a lake? I don't know.
Or rivers. I don't know. There's something down. There's a canal or something. There's like a bunch of like bars and
Yeah, the flats, man. It used to be awesome back in the day, and that was where they put the first ESPN center, but it
oh,
closed. They were
okay.
building that up at one time. They put the ESPN center, and then they put the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame,
Yep. Yep.
and they had this hotel called the Stouffer. I
Okay.
forget what it's called now. It changed hands. It was called the Stouffer back in the day. One time I went to the Pepsi 200. It was a it was a IndyCar race,
Yep.
and Michael Andretti won the year I was there. But the Stouffer had this unbelievable spread, this brunch
Yep.
that they would do, phenomenal, and a great hotel, one of those great old classic hotels,
It was.
and it had a tunnel that went to an underground mall.
Oh yeah. Yes, I remember that. We were in Cleveland like the last time I was in Cleveland was for with the national, but the only other time I was in Cleveland before that was like, geez, in like '94 for a family member's wedding. And I remember like we went into Cleveland like on Saturday during the day, and we were like blown away. Like it was like a ghost town, and like nobody was like it was because I'm originally from New York, so you go to New York City, there are people 24/7 on the streets walking. There was like nobody hardly out on the streets on the Saturday. It was just strange. And we were asking like, where is there? We're like, well, people don't live in Cleveland. Like they live outside of Cleveland, so there's not like a lot
Yeah,
of apartments. So there's
same in
not that
Pittsburgh.
like yeah. So I thought that was just very strange, very interesting. But it's definitely a cool town. I mean, it was cool, no doubt about it. I mean, that little area where all the bars were was definitely cool place.
Yeah, years ago,
Uh,
back in the '90s, we went to. I watched one game there. What was that stadium called? Memorial
the mistake by the lake, municipal stadium,
Muni- Municipal.
municipal stadium, the
I don't
old
know
one
what.
down on the
Yeah,
lake. Yeah.
yeah. I don't know. Well, Memorial. I was close. Anyway, we drove there one day because it was before interleague play,
Yep.
and we
Yep.
wanted to watch Ken Griffey Jr. play.
Hmm.
So a few of us hopped in a car and drove down and got tickets and got to see Ken Griffey Jr. play there.
Yeah, that thing was. I remember just driving by that old stadium. That thing was cavernous, man. I was like, holy smoke! That thing was just wow.
I don't remember much about it. It was not much of a
I
game
just
that I
remember it being
recall.
right on the lake, and it was just it seemed big and huge and cavernous to me. I was like, and dark. I was like, I don't know, it was just like, and I
Yeah.
think it had already been, yes, because by 94, Jacobs, whatever it's called, it was called Jacobs, I don't know, the new stadium was already being used, and that stadium, the the Browns, I think, were gone by that time. I think it was just abandoned at that time. And it was just, I remember it just being very like stark, very stark looking, right on the
Man,
lake.
I remember when the Browns left
Yeah, they snuck
Cleveland.
out, right? They sneak out.
Yeah, like in the middle of the night, and it was so sad. I was so sad for the Brown fans
Yeah,
because Brown fans and Steeler fans hated each other, but it was a fun hate,
yeah,
right? And so we loved to root against each other.
yep,
And I felt so bad. They would come to Steeler games and they'd be interviewed on the news and they'd be like, well, we don't want to come here and root for the Steelers, but we don't have anybody else to root for. And we miss the rivalry. So they would come to and watch the Steeler games. They drive up from Cleveland. So it was great when they got their team back.
yeah. I mean, the Brown. I mean, to me, like the Browns, that's a classic team. I mean, how can you not have the Browns? It's like, oh, it was so. That's why I just loathe. I loathe the freaking Ravens, and well, I'm a Redskins fan too. So I mean, that's another reason. But yeah, I did that. It was just horrible. It was just horrible how they did that. It was just like, ugh. It was kind of like weird because the Colts bolted Baltimore in the middle of the night,
Yeah.
and then
It's sad when these teams leave.
left.
And I was just talking to, I was messaging on his video, Bear Cards 34, because he showed something for Utah Jazz. And I'm like, when they move a team that is clearly named after something in that city, like New Orleans Jazz,
Right.
Utah Jazz makes no
No,
friggin' sense. There's
none.
no jazz in Utah.
Not at all.
I mean, that would be like the Cowboys moving to San Diego, like I don't know, like the San Francisco Cowboys. Like that
Exactly.
would make no sense. Or the Miami Steelers,
Yeah.
or the Pittsburgh Dolphins.
Yeah.
Like the Utah Jazz, really?
Not
Like they should have changed the name.
the Utah Mormons or something. I don't know.
Yeah. So at least when the Browns left, they made them change the name, right? They couldn't keep the Browns,
No.
and it wouldn't have made any sense to be in Baltimore.
Yeah. No. Baltimore Browns. Yeah. No. Not at all. I
Yeah.
think didn't they get to? Didn't Cleveland get to keep the history? Like the Browns now, the same history of the pre. I think the Browns now have the same history as the pre Ravens Brown. Before they left Cleveland, I believe. I'm not 100% sure. Somebody will clarify that for me. I'm sure in the discussion. I believe they were given the history of the Browns stayed with them. So, but
Okay. So these guys,
could be wrong. Because
are busting your chops on your shirt.
oh,
They're waiting for a nipple to pop out.
here.
And they're conniving to sell pieces of your jersey in a card, a relic, a live stream relic.
They call it my guinea tea, my guinea wife beater.
Yeah, I mean this is all that's going on in the chat. So I don't know, the modern hobby, they like their drama. So got to create it.
I got to create some drama, man. Absolutely, absolutely. You got to give people.
Now
something to
there
laugh
will be
about.
17 YouTubers picking up on this, doing a news story on this, and giving their take.
my picture will be plastered across the internet.
Right.
Oh, geez, holy crap. Yeah, man. Like I said, I'm real and I'm raw, man. I come on, and this is what I don't like. It's just, I just get on. I just get on a press play or press record.
Well, what you should do is you should make a card and have a shirt relic over here, and then cut off a little piece of your beard and have a beard relic over here. That'd be a great Hitman 23 card to pass out at the National.
If I was artistically inclined, I might do that, but it would look like a 3-year-old did it if I
I'll tell you, Reindeer Studios, you can
I can commission him to do one.
Commission him. That's the word I was looking for. Yeah.
I have to send him some beard hair.
He'll love that. I'm sure he'll love that.
Oh my Lord. Dude. Oh, I'm glad I can
This
make
live
people
stream
laugh.
is going straight downhill.
Hey, I expect nothing less. I expect nothing less.
Yeah, I
I,
saw Dom Steven Sports Cards was talking about that. So, that always brings back memories, Dom, because I met him at the First National in Atlantic City. He came up and introduced himself, and
yes, I
we
remember
walked
meeting
the
Dom there.
floor for the rest of the day, pretty much.
I was extremely impressed by Dom and his knowledge and his youngness, and I was like, wow. I was
Yeah, man,
very impressed. Very, very, very knowledgeable young man. So rock on,
absolutely.
Dom. Um, I'm trying to think what else, man. I'm trying to think what else.
Yankee game.
Who won?
Judge hit a 3-run home run.
All right. Judge hit a 3-run home run. All right. He's not broken.
Oh, he's not. He's playing.
My bad.
Oh,
My bad.
oh, Stanton. Okay. All right. Stanton hit
Is Judge playing? I know he got beamed in
He
his
did
hand,
not.
right?
He wasn't in the starting lineup. When I checked the starting lineup, he was not in the starting lineup. So I don't know if he's
Yeah,
going to, play.
dude, I got to tell you, Mitch Keller is pitching. Man, he's having a hell of a season for the Pirates. We won 1-0 earlier
Wow,
today.
dude, Mitch Keller's been around for a while, huh?
I know, but he's quietly having a great season.
That's cool. I like that, man. I like that.
I think he won 7 in a row or something. And
Uh,
Brian Reynolds is on a 17-game hit streak. He was struggling today, but he hit a home run for our 1 run and extended his hit streak to 17 games.
nice. I was so shocked when the Pirates gave him that long-term contract. I was like, "What?"
Well, they were messing around with that. It didn't look like they were going to, and they finally did. He's a
I was.
he's a good player.
I know he is. I know he. One of those
But
teams.
I thought he'd be a Yankee by now. That's Paul Skeens, Lou Rock. He's getting all excited because Paul Skeens, he can't wait for him to be a Yankee. They either go to the Yankees or Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay, right? I know.
I mean, imagine if the Pirates have one hell of a pitching staff as far as our top three guys, with Jared Jones, Skeens, and Keller having
Yep,
the year he's having. But imagine, if they had Tyler Glass now and they
oh,
had Garrett Cole.
dude,
Like if they would have just kept their players, the modern game of baseball,
they would have.
that brings up something I was going to ask you earlier and
Yep.
I had forgotten. But what's your take on how bad it hurts a player as far as the fan base, card prices, collectability, for a guy that bounces around? Like in the old days, you had Al Kaline who played his whole
Yeah,
career there, or Killebrew who played his whole career there till like 1 year with Kansas City, but who played mostly their whole time with one team.
I mean, you already know how I feel. I love guys who stay their whole career with one team. I mean, it's rare. I think the research I've done in the entire Major League history, I think 180 guys ish have stayed with their team for their whole career, which is very, very, very small sliver. But I mean, if the player is good, I mean, it's hard to it's hard to follow a guy bouncing around from team to team. I mean, be honest with you. I mean, it's if he's not on your team and if he's really good, maybe you stay with him. But if he's going from like one team to another team to another team, that gets tough after a while. It's hard to stay loyal to that for me. I don't know. I mean, I love the game. I love baseball is, it's my sport. And I always say, I love the sport before I love anything else. I love my Yankees and stuff, but I love the sport more. So I'm able to, respect players and collect other players that aren't on my team and enjoy that kind of stuff. But somebody's bounced around a ton. It just takes a little shine off of the off of the trophy for me a little bit. So I don't know. I don't.
Yeah, do you think that hurt Frank Robinson's collect like his status in the hobby? Because
He
I mean,
bounced a
Frank
lot from.
Robinson was just one of the great all-time players, but
Yeah,
I don't think he gets his due in the hobby.
not at all. I mean, not at all. And I think the last 3 or 4 years he played on 3 or 4 teams. He went from the Orioles the Indians, to the Angels, to the
Well,
Dodgers,
he went to the Dodgers one year,
Dodgers, Angels, Orioles,
72.
Dodgers, Angels, Indians, and
Yeah.
like bang, bang,
But
bang, bang.
even before that, he came up with Cincinnati,
Right,
then went
right,
to
right,
Baltimore. So
right.
I don't know if that hurts him or not. I don't know what the issue has always been with him, where he doesn't command the same prices as Aaron Clemente, his contemporaries, and he was right there with them all.
It's a really good question. It really is a good question, and I don't know what it is, man. I don't know. I mean, it could be that toward the end of his career he bounced around a little bit. I mean, he was the first black manager that had,
Yeah, that alone you would think would
you know,
elevate him. I
that
mean, look what
historical.
happened to Jackie Robinson cards recently. How they blew up.
Exactly.
Being the first of anything is
Yep.
going to be a big deal to collectors usually.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, it's odd. I mean,
It wasn't with him though, for whatever reason.
yeah, it's always that's always kind of been that way with him, and it's I don't know what the can't put my finger on why certain players. I mean, obviously we know the big whatever 10 or the big 5. You can never have to worry about the blue chips, right? But those next tier guys who are still all time greats, it just I don't know.
So
You
when
know,
you talk in the vintage era, I mean, can you think of any player who bounced around that is one of the commands premium in the hobby? Because it seems to me the first one I can think of, the first one that I could think of in any sport was LeBron. That's
LeBron.
the first one I could think of who commands a lot of money, who bounced around.
Yeah. So you're going any sport now. All right.
Well, I mean, in baseball, I can't think of anybody that really, in the modern game, maybe like Otani, it probably won't hurt him.
Right.
Mookie Betts, it probably won't hurt him. I mean, there were some pitchers that moved around, Randy Johnson, Roger Clemens, but I mean, they don't command tons of money.
Yeah, they're only pitchers that really command are like Nolan Ryan.
And he played for several different teams,
Yeah,
but I wouldn't
four
say he
teams.
bounced around. He had kind of long stints with all
Nolan
three of
Ryan
his
and
teams.
Koufax, three are the big ones, and I'm like, okay, like they're like pretty up there, but no other pitchers that I could think of. I mean, obviously the one pre-war pitchers,
Yeah,
that's a different
right.
story. That's but like modern guys, post-war guys, it's really just. I mean, I bought a Whitey Ford, a '57 Whitey Ford for $25 last week in Fort Lauderdale. I was like, to me, I mean, that's a no-brainer. I mean, I was like, and I'm fine. That's great. Hey, man, you keep him at 20. I'll take it. But
Yeah.
he's a great a great pitcher. Now, I mean, he's not on the level of Sandy Koufax, but he's probably the Yankees' greatest all-time pitcher.
Well,
And
I'll tell you what, he was, I
pretty
believe,
special.
I believe second on the all-time winningest percentage list. And the
Yes.
last time I looked, he was tied with Clayton Kershaw. And I don't know if Kershaw passed him or not, because he was still playing at the time I looked at it.
Right. My guess is probably, but I'd have to look that up. But yeah, you're right. Ford definitely had the.
But I mean, look at the teams he had. What did he go to? 182 World Series. I mean, when you have that team around you as a pitcher, I think you're going to win some games.
You're going to win some games, no doubt about it.
So winning isn't always. When you're Bob Gibson and you can win when your team only scores one run every game, that's another level.
That's another level.
Yeah. Not
but
when you have Mickey Mantle hitting home runs.
Maybe Bob Gibson's on that list. I mean, I don't know. Would you say does he command a premium? I mean, his rookie card, but I guess.
And he played his whole time.
He played his
together.
whole time Cardinals.
And I think he threw more complete games. I think he threw more complete games than every St. Louis Cardinal since him combined.
That's insane. That is insane.
He has some crazy statistic. It's just unbelievable how many complete games he had.
God.
He used to get so mad because he would score he he would throw he'd give up one run and they wouldn't win the game. He used to get so mad because they were asking him, "Were you angry out there? Because you always look angry." And he's like, "Hell yeah, I was angry because my team wasn't scoring any
They
runs."
suck. I remember Bob Gibson when I was a kid. He used to do Primatene Mist commercials for asthma on TV. I
Oh,
remember.
really?
Yes, yes. He used to do I'm almost
I
positive.
don't remember that.
Yeah, I'm almost positive he did. I'm going to look it up right now and see. I'm almost positive he did Primatene Mist commercials.
The best commercial by any athlete had to be Joe Namath with the pantyhose.
Oh, dude. Classic.
Although, like, if they did that today, it would actually be for men's pantyhose, though. It wouldn't be a joke.
Bob Gibson commercial. I like doing asthma commercial. Yep.
And there was a Rosie Greer commercial. What was that commercial where he was doing? Oh man, he was sewing or doing
oh yeah, he
something
was
very
Rosie
girly.
Greer. He was a big needlepoint or something like that.
Something I can't remember it right off the top of my head, but I have this Rosie Greer here
Yeah, he was
that
into like
is
that kind of stuff.
from the Topps Vault. Did you
Oh,
ever
that's
see me
cool.
show this?
That's cool.
So Topps, and I don't think they did this for baseball, but for their football cards, they would get an album page and they would glue the front and the
Yep.
back of the card, and they would keep it in their archives. And back when they started to auction off all their stuff because they didn't have enough room or whatever,
Yep.
they auctioned some of these off.
How
And
did
I
you?
wanted to get. I didn't care pretty much who I got. I just wanted them to be somebody, some good players, some names I recognized,
Yeah,
because I wanted to get one,
Rosie
and I
Greer.
won this with Alan Amici and Rosie Greer.
How did those how did that what you would call it, those Tops not archives, what are the what'd you get there, what are those called, Tops what are they?
Archives
Not the archives, but what
or
you
Vault,
the
Topps
vault,
Vault.
yeah, how did that come to like market, like how did you get that stuff?
Well, back in the early days of eBay, they had their own selling platform. It was
Okay,
called Topps Vault, and
gotcha.
they would sell them directly on eBay. Now they did have some other auctions. Some of the stuff, Beckett graded a lot of their stuff, and they'll actually put on there where the auction was, like from the 1991, 1990 New York City auction or whatever. I have
Okay.
some of those, but they had their own eBay page, and I used to buy some proofs and different things from them.
Okay.
I
Yeah, I
was
wasn't
always searching for
sure.
them, and I got some cheap stuff. It was pretty awesome.
That's cool, man. No, that's the stuff you want to grab. That's no
Yeah,
doubt.
now you have to get it third hand.
Yeah.
I have a lot of the player contracts, which
And
is really
take
cool.
another mortgage out on your house.
Right. Although I don't know about you, but vintage cards, man, like I always say, aside from the 100 big cards, they've been getting cheap lately.
Yeah, well, it's
I,
interesting.
and it's not just me. I see a lot of people talking about that. Do you see that?
I do. I was gonna mention that. Like even like on my on my eBay, when I watch something, it's almost guaranteed I get an offer for something lower than what they're asking for. Like it's almost guaranteed now. It's like I put it up there within a couple hours. Oh, seller makes offer for whatever. I was like, I mean, I have such a ton of stuff on my watch list. I mean, it's prioritize or maybe not prioritize, but I know I'm getting a ton more offers on stuff, lower offers. So
Yeah, I watch stuff, and it's on there for weeks and weeks and weeks. Finally, I make an offer, and they jump on it. Like they don't
that's
even counter.
it's um it's
And
uh
some of the auctions I win, I can't believe how cheap.
it's good for us collectors, man. It's good for us collectors.
Oh, it's awesome. I have two. Rick turned me on to this one auction, and these are super super rare postcards, like single digits.
Ooh,
And man, I got two of them. I couldn't believe how cheap.
via
Couldn't believe.
eBay or via something else.
Probstein,
Probstein, gotcha.
and he gets a lot of eyes.
Yep,
It was Probstein on eBay,
I got
but
you. Got
but normally, like if I've been on a Probstein stuff, which I rarely do, I only do it if it's something like this where I'm not going to find it anywhere else.
Right.
But I always get outbid at the last minute, and it goes way above where it was 1 minute before it closed.
Yeah.
And man, the prices I got on these, I just can't even believe it. And I got this other super rare card of a great player, and it was on there. I watched it for probably months, and finally I reached out, and he
Hey, dude.
took my offer. I got
Wow.
that for next to nothing, in my opinion, for what I collect. But I just see, man, all these, and you see these videos all over YouTube now showing you how cheap some of these things are going for. If they're not in a 9,
Exactly.
they're going for nothing.
Exactly. That's
Everybody has to have that number, and they'll pay 100,000 times more as long as it has that
insane.
number on it.
It's
This
insane.
seems insane.
It's insane. I still to this day, like just thinking about, the putting a 9 and a 10 right next to each other and not being able to discern between the two. It just blows my mind that there's an
You'll
exponential
never be able to tell.
price. It's just, it's like, it's crazy that people are paying for that digit on there. It's like, wow, like, man.
It's good. I mean, because if you have a 10, you can make some bank, and then
No,
you could go buy some other shit.
for sure. Exactly. It's like, that's the stuff you want to get rid of so you can turn it around and get something else for your collection. No doubt about it. No
Yeah,
doubt.
I just, because you can't tell the difference. It always blows my mind how they'll pay 10 times or
Right.
20 times the amount for the card. And the only thing I could come up with is like bragging rights. Like when somebody
Right.
comes to your house, you want to show them a 10, and you think you got,
Right.
you get a, I don't know. It's like, I don't know. It's like a
All right.
competition because you can't tell to look at it.
I got
It's
a
not a
question.
diamond.
Got a question for you. Prediction, or not prediction, but get a guess question. 1971 Thurman Munson, there are no 10s. If one of those cards pop as a 10, what do you think it would go for? On 10.
Well, it would be hard to guess, but it would be a lot.
6 figs, right? Easily, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would think.
Yeah. I would think so
It'd be
too.
the only one, and
Yeah.
I'd be like, who cares?
Yeah.
You know how many other cool shit I could buy with that money?
Absolutely.
Like that's one of my favorite all-time cards, and I could give two shits if I have it in a 10.
Exactly. Oh, you know what, dude? I'm glad you said that, because now I remember what I was talking about earlier and I forgot. You asked me about like the Grail card thing and about, like the Honus Wagner and like that kind of stuff. Like, I think about that sometimes, and I know this is going to sound insanely crazy, and I would never turn it down if somebody gave it to me. I obviously, but like, it's weird. I almost feel like the pressure of owning that would be like so like crazy. Like, I don't
What
know.
pressure, man? What pressure?
I don't know. Just like, you'd be like,
It's like you could sell it at any time and
I,
retire if you needed the money.
I
Just
know.
make sure it's insured and stored safely.
That's true. But if there's something in my mind, I'm just like, I don't know, man. I'd be like, oh. I can't look
I
at
used to feel like that when I was younger. I didn't want to hold expensive cards because I didn't know if they'd stay expensive.
Right.
And when I didn't have much money, and sometimes I would sell them because I just didn't feel comfortable holding them in my house or whatever. I
Yeah.
don't feel like that now though.
Yeah.
But I used to. So I know where you're coming from with that.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man, I had something I wanted to ask you along
That's
those lines, and now it's escaping me.
I just these senior moments, man. I mean, I tell
Yeah,
you.
what were we talking about with the?
So, are you related to Matt Mangini?
No, not that I'm aware of. Not that I'm aware of. Oh man, I can't remember what I was going to ask you. I think it had something to do with what were we talking about? The Thurman Munson, the tens.
If there was a 10 to pop up,
9 or 10. Yeah, I can't think now.
yeah, it's all right. I'm with you.
Yeah, I would totally sell the tens though.
Yeah, sell the 10s, man. You can get how many 5s could you get with that?
Well, not even cards. I mean, other stuff. You could get
True.
Ferrari.
I was saying, get my
You could get a
1970
Ferrari or something,
Yeah, now I can get my 1970 GTO Judge. That's
Oh,
what
I know what I wanted to talk about. So
yeah. Yes.
get your take on this because the new phenomenon, you know, in our world and in the vintage world, we always talk about rare cards or scarce cards.
Yep.
And you know what does that mean?
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays we have this pop report. So
Mm-hmm.
you can have a card that there's 10,000 of them. Um, you know, maybe there's 30,000 1971 Thurman Munsons, but there's no tens.
Right.
So now you get a pop one, you know, and if you get a 10, if you can find a 10, and it's a new kind of rare, right?
The card is not rare. The grade is rare.
Right.
That's it. Really. I mean, the card
That,
is
but
not.
that's taken over the hobby, though, don't you think?
It, absolutely. It's it's yeah. It is.
I see all the time on Facebook or whatever. They'll be like, "Oh, this is a pop 2 and a 9 or whatever."
Right.
It's
Right.
like, who cares? Like there's 10 million of them. Like the Ricky Henderson rookie, they won't give out tens. So what?
Right.
Nines are beautiful,
Absolutely.
and I
Like,
can't tell the difference.
can you tell the
Eights are
difference?
beautiful. I have an 8 that's gorgeous. Like it does. There's nothing wrong with it.
Exactly. Exactly.
So you now
That's
you
a true thing.
these
They
these
will not
tens have.
give out tens. They will not give out 10 on that card. Is that like a thing? Or
Yeah, I think they're doing that intentionally myself because they were given tens, so they just stopped.
but wait,
But
there.
I think, and there has to be lots of unopened material
Mhm.
for that year. But
There
you know,
are.
these this grading has become like you remember they. I don't know if people like women would get these engagement rings and they would be like, "This is an investment quality diamond." Right? It's not just a diamond, right? It's flawless. And if you look under a microscope, it's investment quality. And I'm like, sure. Yeah, walk out of the store, turn around and try to sell it back to them. See how much of an
Right.
investment it is. It's like when you drive a car off a lot, it immediately depreciates. So
Five
now
thousand.
we're getting into investment quality cards, and it's not the card, it's the grade.
Grade
Like
that's
a 10 is investment quality. And then they put us all down and say, oh, that's collector's grade. If you have a shit grade, that's collector's grade. That's not investment grade. That drives me crazy. What
great.
is investment grade? If I have a great card like a Hannes Wagner T206 in a 3, that's investment grade, baby.
In a 0.5, it's an investment
Yeah.
grade.
Or a Mantle in a
A
1.
ripped half card.
52 Mantle in a 1 is in an A is an investment grade.
Absolutely. It's funny, man, how how it is. I always look forward, like, what's the next trend gonna be like in 10 years? Like, that's always like, what's the next thing gonna be? Like the big thing in the hobby world. Like, don't know. Like, I just wonder.
Well, you know what? It's near impossible to predict because the dumbest shit becomes so popular.
I know.
You remember when they came out with that what was it? What was the first one? Tops 2020?
Yeah, yes.
You remember
The
the thousands of dollars those things were selling
oh
for?
god,
And
dude.
then you couldn't give them away a year
Right,
later.
right.
But
Yeah,
they
it
were
was
selling for thousands.
it was like the Ermsey Trout was going for like ridiculous money. Like ridiculous money, I
You know,
believe.
the same thing happened with E-Tops. The
Yep.
first year E-Tops came out, those cards went way up.
Yep.
And they were in some vault. I sold all mine. They went way up, and they weren't particularly nice cards. Um,
Get rid of the
and
garbage.
they cost so much money to have shipped to you. It's easier just
Real.
to sell them.
What do they hit you on for shipping?
Dude, I still have a whole bunch sitting there. When I got back into collecting in 2014, I went onto my account. They're still all there. So I'm like, well, let me get these shipped to me because I kept the ones I really wanted.
Right, right.
It was like $320 to ship them to me. So I'm
What?
like, tops, you could keep them. Like
What?
they're not even worth. They're worth nothing. I'm not paying $320 to have you ship these to me. They're just going to take up space if that's how you want to do it. Like
Oh,
you can keep them,
that is
throw them
just
away. It's
stupid.
ridiculous. Everything's a money grab.
Everything, man. Everything, and anything. It is the way the world is, man. It is the way of the world.
It is. You know, I was talking in my video, like everybody talks about 10 times the hobby, 10 times in the hobby, 10 times in the hobby. And they come out here, many have bad intentions, and they do questionable things. And it's like, if you want to 10 times the hobby, improve the hobby. Don't try to rip everybody off. Make the hobby a safer place. Make it a better place. Like, if you improve the hobby, you'll 10 times it, because it's a great hobby. We have all these new people coming in, but how many people are you chasing away with all your stupidity? Stock symbols on the bottom of your videos, talking about prices, and just doing stupid shit, paying 1,000% for a 10 over a 9, trying to rip people off. These stupid mystery packs and all this stupid stuff that people are intentionally ripping you off. Like, if you want to 10 times the hobby, make it a better place. Make it a safer place, and it'll grow. Why do you have to? I don't know. Why do we have to do all these other stupidity to grow something?
Oh, because the snake oil salesmen, they have to get into everything. Every corner of everything. It's.
But your greatest companies, your most successful. I mean, they make your experience a wonderful experience, right? They improve your experience,
right?
I mean, if Starbucks is charging $8 for coffee, they better be nice to you when you go there and bend over backwards. And if you don't like it, they throw it away and give you a new one. You know what I mean? Like, it's a good experience. If it was a bad experience, you wouldn't pay $8 for a cup of coffee.
When you ask about the experience part, the 10 times experience, are you talking about the companies themselves, or dealers, or a segment of the hobby, like or something specific, or
nothing specific? You just know there's a lot of shenanigans that go on in this hobby. I mean, we see it every day.
Yeah,
there are people that dedicate their videos to pointing it out.
Yes.
There's just all kind of craziness that goes on in this hobby. It attracts a lot, and it always has. Quick money, easy to trick people.
Yeah.
Man, if you look around eBay now, there's so many homemade cards, and to the novice, there's homemade grading companies, homemade grading slabs, homemade cards.
Yep.
And to the novice person, you don't know the difference. They even make them look like rated rookies, or make them look like other popular cards.
Yep, they do.
And I mean, it'd be very easy. Some grandma's on there trying to buy her kid a card, and she's getting ripped off because she doesn't know any better.
Yep.
And there's always the thing, well, buyer needs to beware and this and that. Well, sure they do, but at the same time, maybe we shouldn't be intentionally trying to rip them off.
Yeah, no, that's that.
Or mislead.
That's just evil, man. That's just evil. I mean, yeah, no, that's but like I said, man, that's never ever, we're never going to get rid of that. That's always going to be somewhere, whether it's in the hobby or in the world outside our doors. It's going to be there, unfortunately.
I'll tell you what, I was going to take care of Lou on our road trip, but he and Dylan are planning alternate programming, counter programming to us, and trying to go live. So since he's disrespectful, I'm going to have to put a tack in his bed.
Uh-oh. There's going to be some scarring. There's going to be some scarring on the way to the National.
I might have to put a few tacks in his bed.
Lou's going to be limping around.
Lou, I hope you sleep on your back, buddy.
I'm just going to come on here and show more nipple, man. I think that's where I'm at right
now. We got to draw the line there. I don't need to see that twice. All right, man. I got to get running.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for jumping on. I invited you at the last minute.
I love doing this, so it's been real.
Always fun talking cards.
Likewise, absolutely. Everybody have a good night.
You have any last thoughts before we go?
How many more weeks till the National? 4? Yeah, baby, 4 weeks. I think it's about 4 weeks. Can't wait. See you all there.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out.
You're welcome, John. Take care. Later.